Okay, so part 2 on the letter KAF, discussing the KAFness, you might say, the KAFosity of the chart. Talking about Isaiah 59:60. The point in mentioning all this is that there's question of who really is Yahushua? How should we regard him? Is he the God-man? Is he the man-God? Is he God the Father in the flesh as the Son? So when you see the Son, you're actually seeing the Father. You see that cartoon somebody drew Yahushua at the Garden of Gethsemane, on the rock praying, and he says, "Hey, Dad, it's me, you." I said, "What? Who is he? What is he? Is he the Father?" I've heard people say, Jesus Christ is the Father. What is that isness? I'm the Father of one. Yeah, but in this next sentence, he said, and he's praying that we would be one the way he is one. Echad, Yichad, Aleph, Het, Dalet, one, unified, singular, mono, one and the same. Is he the same person, the same heart, the same mind, the same ruach? Is that the same being? Or is it a oneness, a unity of no distinction of otherness? But bet means other. Aleph is a singularity. You can't even see Aleph or look at Aleph unless you're other than Aleph, looking at Aleph. There has to be a bet, or else you can't even identify Alephness. I've talked about this in other videos. I won't elaborate other than to mention the fact that if you say, well, there's Aleph, you've now defined it by pointing at it, describing it, looking at it as if you're not Aleph and you're looking at it. Well, I'm in Aleph. No, you can't even define Aleph unless you have a vantage of another point of view, which is not Aleph. Concept. Somebody could argue the details of that, but I'm just saying the oneness, the Alephness. So there's I've not studied Kabbalah, but I've heard people say there's a Kabbalic notion called Zimzum, with Zimzum, that there's this oneness. Where'd the oneness come from? Well, somebody had to make the oneness. So the Aleph made the oneness. So picture it as this spherical, and then you take something else like a pin into a balloon to, you might say, penetrate the uterus to plant a seed. So that's the line on the letter Kuf that's otherwise the neck, and the Kuf sphere being the head, the inject something within. This is the Zimzum, is that he created this universe, or bigger than the universe, and then he made a void where he could, or maybe the Alephness is the reality, and he creates a vacuumous void, like the picture of the Kuf, that he then injects life, like being impregnated. But see, that's all metaphorical pictures of. Yeah, but Kuf is way down there. Number 19. On this particular chart, the numbers aren't written. On the array, the numbers are written. Resh is 20, 21, 22. Kuf must be 19. It's one way to read it. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Hey, if 14 and 15 are Nun and Samik, well, that's like the Exodus. He had the Exodus dinner on the 14th of the first month, and on the 15th, first part of the day in the morning, just after midnight, when the death angel came, the 15th was the day they went out. Samik Ayin, or Nun, the word spelled Nun Samik Ayin, means to depart on a journey, to go out, because Nun is this action as a prefix of Nun Samik Ayin, and to branch and diversify. Samik Ayin, or Ayin Pei, is to diversify, like these branches, like bird's wings going out. So what I'm saying is that you can go back and count Mem Nun, and you get to the 14th day. That's the Passover day, and the 15th day is the Exodus. So between the night between the Nun and the Samik, well, that's when the Pesach meal is. They were supposed to have it all done by midnight and stay in, or in the later part of the day, and stay in. Don't everybody go out of your house, because midnight is when the death angel came, and they had to have the blood on the door. And I'm just saying, if you picture the stories in the Old Testament, the picture of Yahusha's New Testament, and you see the English words and other languages words, the Isaac Moseson's work, you get this whole thing, and it locks in then the value of the letters, the meaning of the letters. The reason for the letters being where they are is given definition, is given place and reason, because it fits into the story. As I have said, stepping stones along a garden path, where each step or each note in a song, not just, they're like chord changes. And if you're playing music and you hit a certain chord, and then you have a fill, and then a boom, another chord, then another chord. The filler notes is just the meta in between, and the major chord changes. So if you're doing a storyboard, laying out a film, a narrative, the major scene changes are like the letters. And so if you're going to do this flip book, it's not the in-betweens that are there. You can see it that they are actually wheel within a wheel concept, but step back and see the overview. These are like the major scene changes. And so the idea of the flip book, what am I seeing? How am I, what's Aleph, what's Bet? And then you read about what did Nicodemus say, and why does the ISR version scripture call him Nicodeman? Aleph Kuf, or no, I mean Nun Kuf Dalit Kod. Hey, that's that word we're looking at to scrutinize. Mem Nun. Not Nicodemus, but Nicodeman, because US is Greek masculine singular. That's Greek. And if he was a Jewish guy, probably Aramaic or Hebrew, Nikodemon is probably, his name is Kuf Dalit Mem Nun. Well, Kuf Dalit Mem, like Greg was saying in the beginning, that's the ancient path. That's the Rosh is the pinnacle, the zenith, and also the foundation. That means it was the first and best. And Joseph, does something of the prophecy of Joseph mean we will go back to the great beginning? Deuteronomy 30, when all these things have come upon you, blessing and the curse, like I told you about today, and then come back to these words. And so in this write-up, and sorry, I did not get these notes sent. I was going to do them, didn't yet. I was going to do them this morning and didn't yet. I was looking at something here, and but I'll send them to you. But my point is, I'll try to get them up this afternoon. Deuteronomy 30 is the great flipping of the seesaw. It was Yahuah had his people up and all the other nations down. He said when he laid out the boundaries of the peoples, Israel was exalted. But when Israel went stupid, punk, rogue, idiot, it flipped. Now the other nations are up and Israel is down, subjugated. And Yahuah said, when Israel comes back, read Ezekiel 36, verse 23 is the turnaround. Deuteronomy 30, when all these things that come upon you, then you return to these words. That's going to flip the seesaw again. Israel's going up, all the other nations going down. They don't want that to happen, of course, because now they're down and they're getting all the. And Yahuah said, when I poured out my wrath on my people, he was furiously angry, so perturbed. Yeah, it was only a little wrath. And it's like, what? It was both a little and a lot. But he says, when I pour out my vengeance on the enemies of my people, that he called in to punish, to chastise, to mishlei, or Mosar, maybe the word is, which is basically put reins on and to keep his people right where they're supposed to be. Chastisement is what the word is. It's a correction. A correction to what? To the Torah of where he's supposed to be. See, you have to have that story in your mind in order for this stuff to make sense. If you don't have the Christian New Testament Jesus narrative, you'll never see that. The crucifixion, the internment in the grave, 3 days and 3 nights, the resurrection, the rising up, coming back. If you don't read the gospel, you'll never see that. That's why the Jews don't ever talk about it or see it, from what I know. But if you don't look at the Moedim, you'll never see this. Don't look at the Sabbath day. The two letters that are weapons, Zion and Zadi, pronounced as a Z, pronounced as a TZ. Zadi never ended up in the Greek, Latin, or English alphabet. Zion was thrown at the end and became the letter known as Z or Z. It was taken out of here, and the letter G, the phonetic of the Gimel, was replaced into there. And the Het Actually, our letter H pronounced as an E. That confusion. Tet was booted out. Yod became the I and the J. A, B, C, D, E. Vav became the F. Vav, F. Drawn like the hook, the lower, and that was the letter shape. I don't draw it that way because in Daniel 12, in that position of that line, he saw the one above the waters of the river that was in the Dalet position, standing above the water with his right hand and his left hand raised. And he swore by him who lives forever. See that position of a man standing with his arms up, and he swears. Well, the word swear is shin bet ayin, which is the meaning of the letters 7, to swear. So there's the Vav man standing there like that. So I draw the letter Vav like that. Just so you know, that's where that orthography comes from. That was a valid letter shape, but I put it into this collection of orthographic shapes for that reason, to lock it into Daniel 12. So now we're going to look at Isaiah 59, and I'll try to take everything we just talked about in the first hour to bear for a reason, and the stuff I talked about last week. So it starts off in Isaiah 59 that, behold, it's not that Yahuah's hand is too short or that his ear, oh, I'm so burdened with so many things to hear, I just can't hear your prayers. That's not what's going on, just so you know. Verse 2. Ki for, now Aleph Mem means mother. It's also city, metropolis, nation. What does that mean? Mother, nation, metropolis, city. See, the only way to analyze this language is that's Aleph Mem, and you say, what do those have in common? Well, a mother provides the womb, but it has to have incoming resources from somewhere else. And then she harbors it, incubates it, and it becomes a product, a baby. Well, that's the same thing a factory does. A factory is an industry that's set up, incoming resources, modifying it, changing it, putting out a product for sale or for use. That's what a nation does at large in its economy. But it's also the word if, if, am, if what? It also means on the condition of what? What's the suitable condition of the manufacturing plant? The mother, is she doing drugs and smoking and drinking and UFA fighter and getting punched all the time? That product of that baby is going to come out pretty wounded. I'm just saying, you have to sit there and wrap your mind around the shape of the meanings, the letters of the order, and the translational value that we have given to us to be able to read into it what they didn't give us. And I'll explain that in a moment. So Aleph is an ox and Mem is water. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Oh, does that have something to do with it? It's like, it's a horse, not an ox. It's like, oh. Or is it the strong or the strength of the womb? The strength of the womb is conditional. If what? Now that's kind of what this is about. So the strength of the womb, or the ability of the womb, the factory, to put out the proper product. The Aleph of the Mem, if you got polluted water, you're going to get sick if you drink it. I mentioned, I believe it was last week, about the fellow that I met who had worked for the government, and he found that tribal villages scattered around the world, the people are sick, or they're not got much strength, they're weak. Invariably, he said, they were drinking right near their latrine. They didn't seem to know that you're supposed to separate drinking water from wastewater. It's like, well, duh. Well, isn't that Aleph Mem? If on the condition of you can tell the difference between. Now, here's a phrase that Yahweh has used numerous times. Can you tell the difference between the kadosh and the halal, the sacred and the profane? And one of Yahweh's big complaints against the priests of his people is that they made no distinction. Jesus said you can eat anything you want. Go ahead and have bacon on your cheeseburger. It's really tasty, you know. Go ahead and eat oysters and clams. And I thought Yahweh said for his people to only eat of the seafood what has scales and fins. Yeah, Jesus called everything clean. It's not goes into your mouth, it comes out of your mouth. That's what he said. That's exactly what that guy said. Now, as I said last week in the first hour, why do you suppose he did that? Jesus, call him Yeshua, whatever you want to call him, especially if he's God, he knows darn well that when he said, "It goes into your mouth, it comes out of your mouth, it makes you unclean." Now, not only did he know that his people were for 2,000 years going to eat abominable things which pollutes them, toxifies them, and generates illness and or lack of ability to think. He knew that that sentence was going to have that effect, and he said it anyway. Oh, well, it was a mistranslation. Well, he knew it would get mistranslated by either the words on the text or certainly the doctrine of the church. It was adversarial. It was not what his father said. And yet he says, I'm not here saying my own stuff. I only say what I hear my father say. Did he hear his father say, you know, the only reason I told the Jews in the desert that they couldn't eat oysters or pork is to punish them. I give them bad laws nobody can live by. And I've heard people say that with a good, clear conscience, that that's the exact purpose, reason, and intention of the Torah is to punish the Jews. Quoting from Ezekiel 20, verse 24, giving them bad laws that nobody can live by, to grieve them and flagellate them so much that when Jesus came and said, now you can eat whatever you want, and now you don't have to be under the law. Oh, thank you, Jesus. I don't have to live by the Torah anymore. Oh, thank you, let us become Christians. I've heard that said many times. That's the prevailing concept. The difference, the distinction between Jews and Christians. And I think that's all what some would call a damn dirty lie. Based on this, here, let's read. For if on the condition of ayin vav nun tav, yod kaf mem, oh, a big word, yod kaf mem, tav yod kaf mem, that's all your suffix. You plural is kaf mem, tav yod, I have declared, I've made known. If the past tense or the future tense, I will. But ayin vav nun then is the word, and that's the word that is iniquity. It's the nature of your iniquity being the strong womb. In other words, when you do something, we're going to call it ayin vav nun, iniquity. Oh, it's going to set up something being birthed. A man's way is returned on his own head. That's mishpat. That's the way things work. If you do righteousness, which is by definition, thank you, Epistle of John, righteousness is doing what Yahuah said. Unrighteousness, which is wickedness, which is either ayin vav nun or peshin ayin, like we said last week, or chet tet aleph, sin, wickedness, resh ayin, is either doing what Yahuah said not to do, or it's by omission, not doing what he said to do. If he said rest on the Shabbat and you should engage in these mikra kodesh, sacred gatherings at the time that I tell you, and you go, we're not going to do it. That's a sin. High-handed rebellion sin. Peshin ayin. Iniquity. Ayin vav nun. On the account or the nature that what you do on purpose, caring or not caring about what Yahuah said, who he is, and all this stuff, which is his stuff. And the Moedim, just so you know, establish it, locks it in with meaning. And so if you disregard the Moedim, you got no index. It's a snake, it's a sprout, it's a flag, it's a sea urchin. That's what it is. Really? Oh, yeah, KAF. Looks like a sea urchin. It's kind of the round thing. It's got little spiky things. And let's think of that. It's like, okay, let's think of that. Whatever. Hey, yod vav, it or he, the next word. And then mem, bet, dalet, lamed, yod mem plural. Mem, the object of, bet, dalet, lamed, badal. You look that up in the dictionary. just showing you the function now. I won't do this with every word, but I'm going to go kind of fast here because there's 3 chapters to look at. It means separate, detach, withdrawn, different, divided, partition, screen, aloof, and isolation. Guess what? It sounds like the veil in the temple. Mem, the object which separates, divides, detaches. It's the nature of the Aleph Mem of your own iniquity, which has separated you from Elohim. My iniquity, I don't even know what that means. Yeah, that's the problem. Well, I never was told to care. That's the other problem. You don't know and you don't care. I heard a joke once, not much of a joke, but one guy says to the other, you're so ignorant and apathetic. You probably don't even know what I'm talking about. And the guy says, yeah, well, I don't know and I don't care. Ignorant and apathetic. That's the problem. It is that ignorance and apathy is what has separated us from Elohim. So when Jesus died on the cross and the veil was rent, that gave us back connection because it separated that which separated us. Or maybe it was the picture of exactly what separated us. What's that which separated us from Elohim? We don't know and we don't care about what he said and who he is and what he even cares about. In fact, thank you, Jesus, because you died on the cross, that veil's twice as thick. Did he rip the veil to bring that metaphor to bear? Hey, think about this. Think about this. How can we think about this? Well, guess what? It's the verb of matter right here in Isaiah 50, verse 2. But who would know that if they didn't look at the gospel narrative and care and look at these words? It says, the nature on account of what's in your heart, your mem, your heart is the mem, the womb, his word is the seed. You see, go back to Yeshua's parable about the sower of the seed, and the seed is the word of Elohim. So the word of Elohim in my care, lining up with mem noon, lining up with take it to heart. Yeah, I don't want to take it to heart. Yeah, I'm going to drink, smoke, and do kickboxing and let the other person kick me in the stomach, even though I'm pregnant. Gee, that's a good idea, isn't it? Can I call that iniquity? Not good, not right, not proper. I involve noon. I don't even care. Well, if I noon hey means to humble yourself and care and respond and look and pay attention, so that as you're studying I noon hey, you got kuf dalet. Your head is bowed down, and is that I will show you where I believe he's saying this is the crowning action of what anybody can do on the face of the earth. It's what separates between you and between your Elohim. Well, see, we don't speak that way in English. In English, we might say between you and him, between the people and Elohim. But see, the way he says this, it's also in Genesis 1. If you look, he says he's separated between the light and between the darkness. It's like between the light and between the darkness. What is that? In English, it was between the light and darkness. That's not the way he speaks, between the light and between the darkness, between you and between your Elohim. Just so you know, that's the phrasing that's here. Bin kam la bin Elohekam. But see, the word bin, as I was talking about before, means son or to build or to understand. If I plug that in here, then what's separating between us and our Elohim? To build by understanding. Build what? He's talking about the separation. So can I repair the separation? Can I build a relationship between Adam and Elohim, Israel and Yahuah Zavot, the Elohim of Israel? How is that built? And then he goes on to say, Vav het tet aleph, hey, that's the word to sin. Vav tav, that's plural. Yod kaf mem, so the tav yod is I have declared to you what sin is, and you guys keep doing it. Well, that's het tet aleph. But as I said here, het tet yod, well, that's my sin. But het tet aleph also means sin offering. It also means to incur guilt. Well, because of my sin, I incurred guilt. But if I have a sin offering, now I can place my guilt on the offering, and the offering incurs my guilt. And because the offering was clean and pure, we trade, and now I get benefit of the cleanliness, the purity of the sin offering, and the sin offering takes my uncleanness and gets killed and takes it to the grave. The Passover lamb was not used for that, but that's exactly what Yahushua did at this occasion, being put to the weapon, Hey Vav Zion, Het Tet Yod, as my sin offering, taking my guilt. So in spite of anybody's doctrinal debate, could he, did he, Pesach wasn't a sin offering, the Yom Kippur goat was, but then why does he say, behold the Lamb of God takes away the sin of the world? Thank you, John the Baptist, because seeing it in the letters, is that what John the Baptist saw? Mem Tet Aleph, if you just, this is Het Tet Aleph, means a broom or to sweep away. Bent, climbed, and sloped is Tet Hey, so it has something to do with, what's this Tet thing? Get to that some other time. But something about the distance, that which separates between us and our Elohim, this veil. Well, then for me to be purged of that sin offering provides that benefit. And if I can plug this into Yahushua's story, which I just did, then I can look at Yahushua and say, thank you for removing that veil. But does that mean I should continue sinning? Even Paul the Apostle said no. But let's go on. It says, the hidden, Hey, Samech Tav Yod Resh Vav. Well, Samech Tav Resh means to hide, keep something secret. So is this now an adjective talking about your hidden sins? I'm going to show you now how to analyze the sentences. That's what we're going to do right now. The next word is panim, penun yod mem. Well, penun, yod, pane is face. It's always used in the plural, panim, for whatever. People have different expressions. Penun, pan, like sweeping across, panoramic. Penun is type, category, like which gender are you, or put something into a species class. It's be able to classify something. So I think it has been like, well, your face has a lot of different expressions, a couple hundred different expressions that they can map. Again, if you're doing film animation, you're drawing a face, or if you're trying to read somebody's expression, there's ways to know what, because we're all built the same way. Facial expressions mean the same thing. Panim, and then it says makam, mem kaf mem, and then mem shin mem vav ayin. Well, shin mem ayin is the word to hear or to listen. Mem is a prefix, means to be at the place of or away from the place. It's both. Makam, mem kaf mem. Well, kaf mem is a suffix, means you all. Mem means at the place, so the place of you all. So I could read this, your hidden sins, the faces, or the various types of your hidden sins is what is keeping you away from hearing. Yeah, but Yahweh was saying, your sins, not listening to my voice, is what's keeping me from hearing you. Well, wait a minute. Well, it works both ways. Makam, well, kaf mem is plural, but maka, Yahweh maka, is to whack, smack, snap out of it. There's a movie, what is it? Moon something. Anyway, I think Cher was in it, and she slapped somebody, snap out of it. The idea is that you're going to get slapped out of it to wake up and pay attention, or, hey, just turn the other cheek and get slapped again. The point is, what's hidden? Is it your sins that are hidden that's separating you between your Elohim? Or is it saying it's what's hiding his face from hearing us? See, if I look back at the Song of Moshe, that's what Yahweh said. And that's what he said numerous other places. He said, Proverbs, if you don't listen to me, if you don't listen to the Torah, that even your prayers, even so, Gimel Mem is the word, even so your prayers are an abomination. He can't hear you. Now, if I take this as the beginning, you say, yeah, but Jesus died on the cross, so now he can listen to me. It's like, not so fast. Is this a statement of truth? The nature of your ayin vav nun, your peshin ayin, your het tav, het tet aleph, is what keeps you distance from him. Now, thank you, Yeshua, for correcting that matter, but that's the basic scenario. Verse 3, thus what? Because of that. See, if you say, no, this is all Old Testament, it's all done away with, Jesus now nailed on the cross, veil was ripped, I'm done with that. And I've heard people say that, which means nothing else that there is to read should be paid attention to. But see, I disagree with that. And I'm saying for him to die on the cross and the veil get ripped, oh, yes, there's something of great significance. I can see here great significance, my sin offering, so that I can be absolved of my iniquity and find favor, cleansed. But then if I read in verse 3, thus, therefore, kaf pe yod kaf mem. Well, kaf pe is hand, kaf. But pe yod is mouth, like mouth. Like your mouth, according to, but kaf pe yod can also mean the palm of my hand, and it's also to, like if there's a bug on the floor and you want to catch that guy, or to invert, it's also epilepsy, it's also to overturn the tables. Yeshua to go in the temple and just flip everything over, the seesaw tipping. This is a radical, sudden earthquake change of everything. It's kind of like these guys are empowered because of something happening. Boom, this event happens, and now the ones that were down are now up, and now those guys are empowered. He said that was going to happen. Happened in the past, it's going to happen again. It happened that night with handwriting on the wall. The Persians came in, blocked the Euphrates, came in under the wall and took over the city. In an instant, Jericho, the walls fell. That kind of event. Something is hidden, our face, from him being able to hear, and we can't hear him. Verse 3, like your mouth, Nun Gimel Aleph Lamed Vav, redeem, deliver, defile, pollute. There's something in your mouth which is polluting. Bet Dalet Mem, with blood, but Dalet Mem is also similar and silently. I'm just saying, look, you're going to look through these words. Vav, Aleph, Zadi, Bet, Ayin, Vav, Tav, Yod, Kaf, Mem. Yod, Kaf, Mem, Tav, Yod, I have, Kaf, Mem, you all plural. Vav, Tav, plural of Zadi, Bet, Ayin, which means paint, color, hold with the fingers, or point. Vav, Aleph, and I will. Okay, something about holding with the fingers, writing with his finger in the tables of stone is Zadi, Bet, Ayin. Bet, Ayin means to bubble up. Quest or seek. Zadi is this sprout, this blossoming. So is this the blossoming of what you're seeking? Like, what are you questing for? Here, I'll hold it with my fingers, point with my fingers at what? And then there's Bet Ayin Vav Nun. Well, Bet Ayin again, Nun suffix one who seeks, questions. Bet Ayin, condition of iniquity. Bet Ayin Vav Nun, because Ayin Vav Nun is iniquity. So if you will find out what is the iniquity, what's the problem, what are we doing wrong? If he's got a grudge, will you tell me what it is? Shin Pei Tav Vav Tav Yod Kaf Mem. That's the next word. Well, Shin Pei Tav is lip or language. Shin Pei Tav Vav Tav, labialization. Put it in your mouth and be able to speak. Kaf Mem suffix yours. Pei Tav is open, spread out. Shin Pei, establish, ordain, place, set it over the fire. It's also an armchair, lazy boy, easy chair. But see, the paint and the color, well, that's the colored letters, the colored words. What colored words? On the, not this one, but on the array, right in the middle, I have one, it's almost like it's on sandstone, and all the letters are colored almost like they're etched in. That's why. When he wrote with his fingers on tables of stone, were they just scratched in like we might do with some tool, or were they colored? Just thinking, because this says something about colored letters, colored words. Just so you know, that's being processed right now. We'll talk about that later. Making available the entire 66 books of the Bible in, at least in that package of the colored letters. Talk about that later. Anyway, Debaru Shakar. His matters, Debar, his words, Shakar, like sucker, he just lied to this guy and took advantage of him. Shin Kuf Resh, Shakar, lie, false. Paint red, fraud, swindle, mendacity. There's a verse where Yahweh says, stop having Moedim, stop having sacred assemblies. I can't stand sacred assembly with mendacity. I mean, that's what it says in English. It's like mendacity. What does that mean? Lies, fraud. He says, look, if you're going to worship me. Come in spirit and in truth. But if you're going to bring your fraud, swindle, lies, just stop. It's like, see, he says he doesn't want our festivals anymore. That means the law was nailed to the cross and done away with. No more. No, that's not what was going on. He gave the reason because you guys are polluting it. You don't want to hear it? Don't hear it. But that's what he said. Lamed Shin Vav Nun Kaf Mem. Lashon Kam, your tongue. Yeah, but shon is not just tongue, it's different. Shofeh, Shin Pei Hey, lip, language, smooth, clarify. Shin Pei Nun is to change, different, various. Lashon Hara, the evil tongue, shon there. See, you have to realize in the language, shon and shafah can mean the same thing, but one is pure and clean and the other one is different. Ayin Vav Lamed Hey. Well, Ayin Vav Lamed is very similar to Ayin Vav Nun in that it means to act wrongfully. It's also this case, the word for suckling baby, injustice, unrighteousness, wrongdoer. It's also immigrant. An immigrant, yeah, those guys, they don't know what to do. They're always doing stupid things, running the stop sign. Oh, I didn't know it meant stop. Or whatever it might be. Cutting in line. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to stand in line. But it's also a burnt offering and a young girl. And it's like, why would that language have burnt offering and young girl be the exact same word? I involve Lamed Hey. God must want us to throw the little girls into the volcano. That's what they did in Hawaii. It's like, you idiots. No, that's their sacred priest. Thank you for telling us that, Mr. Priest. The last word of this sentence, Tav Hey Gimel Hey. Well, Hey Gimel Hey, that's that word that means navigate, rudder, helm, steering wheel, think, ponder, meditate, and spell words phonetically. Okay, step back. Read the whole sentence. Because of the way you spell words, the way you think, the way you steer, you think you're supposed to throw the young girl into the volcano as a fire offering. Maybe that'll purge you of your iniquity. And whatever Yahweh wrote with his fingers, colored letters, whatever, let's change the meanings. Let's Shin Vav Nun. And so we've been suckered, Shin Kuf Resh, about his word, Dalet Bet Resh Vav. His word has been so distorted, we've got no idea what we're supposed to do, why, how it all fits together. That's what's happened. That's verse 3. Verse 4. Ein kara bezadik ve'ein nishfat, nun in front of shofet, be'amuna, hey, that's faithfulness, betoch al taho ve'debar shua, false words, hey resh vav, ayin mem lamed, and then hey vav lamed yodalet yalad. Hey, that's the word for child or give birth. Aleph vav nun. Aleph vav nun, the last word in verse 4, means deed of purchase, trouble, sorrow. Aleph vav nun, Aleph hey, Aramaic suffix, means idolatry, wickedness, deception, fraud, strength or potency. Word for lobe, this fat, heavy thing. Okay, so what he's saying is he's going to give us the reason why all this trouble exists. Ein Kara, without Kuf Resh Aleph, that's learning how to read. See, if you don't learn how to read, Bet Zadik Dalet Kuf. Well, Bet means the second letter, in, on, with, among, through, or against. Zadik is righteousness, but it's also victory, deliverance, and salvation. So you could say, if you don't learn how to read, you don't know how to gain the victory. If you don't learn to read, you have no idea what righteousness is. And without Nun, Shin Pei Tet. Well, what's Shin Pei Tet? Judgment, Mishpat. This happens, then that happens. Well, there's another way to scrutinize Mishpat. And might as well jump into that right now. Let me see if I can find where I wrote it. If you looked at so I'm not sure where I wrote it. Well, if you look at Shin Pei and then Shin Pei Tav, well, that's to clarify the speaking, clear thinking, sanity, logic for determining justice. Pei Tet is stalemate. Shin Pei Tet, judge, to determine what's right. He says there's no mishpat. You guys can't even think straight if you don't learn how to read. Why? Because that's where the teaching is, in the Torah. And because people have lied, it's all distorted. And therefore, what is emunah? What is faith? Believe Jesus died on the cross. Really? Oh, yeah, he died on the cross. Okay, I'm good. I'm good to go. I've got eternal life. It's like, that's not what it's all about. That's a big deal about what it's all about. But what is righteousness and what is faithfulness? See, faithfulness to be his people and do what he said is emunah, not just belief. Be'amunah. What is, so now the letter bet as a prefix means what is. And say without reading, you don't know what faithfulness is because you don't know what Yahuah said. You know what somebody told you he said, or maybe he did away with because he changed things because he's really God in the flesh. And it's like you get all this stuff. And if you don't learn how to read, you don't know. And then it says bet tet vav het. Well, tet vav het means to trust, rely on, at ease, safe, secure, assured, confidence, tranquility, and certainty. And if you don't know what he said, then you don't know what the condition is. Yeah, I trust him. You trust him to do what? Forgive my sins so I can go to heaven? That's not exactly what he said, because even the people that said, Lord, Lord, we did stuff in your name, well, they must not have really trusted him. No, they trusted him, and they're having the door slammed in their face. There's something else going on, and if you don't learn to read, you'll never know what's going on. That's the whole point of this passage. And then he goes on to say, ayin lamed hyphen tav he vav. That's the word tohu, as in tohu vebohu. It means empty, waste, confusion, vanity, void, worthless, nothingness, and chaos. And then it says vedabar shin vavayan, and matters or word, false, lie, raised up to vanity, smooth but foul, evil. If you don't know how to read Yahuah's words, you'll be led astray. Totally. That's what it's saying. And then it goes on to say, hey resh vav. Well, hey resh is the mountain or pregnant, or hey resh, here is think, meditate, reflect. Ayin mem lamed, labor, toil, hard work, physical exercise, took pains, education through practical experience. And then there's that word, ho lid on, deed of purchase, trouble, sorrow. But it's not just trouble and sorrow. That's Aleph-Vav Nun. But if you learn the language, there's the deed of purchase giving birth to strength and potency. Because if you can see what these letters mean, what these words mean, that's the eternal covenant. That Yahuah, you try to prosecute him, and you'll realize he's done every single thing he said. It's your own iniquity which has brought this corruption. What iniquity? Bacon on my cheeseburger. Bacon wrapped around shrimp. I love that stuff. Verse 5. Bet yod, zadi yod is the word for egg. Zadi pei ayin, viper, poisonous snake, but it also has to do with pierce, breakthrough, penetrated, bubbled. Bet kuf ayin, undermined, destroyed, the word for tattoo, kufayin, kufayin. Ripped apart. I mean, it's talking about somehow something insidiously getting in, subterfuge, and ruining everything. The next word, vav, kufav resh yod. Well, kufav resh aleph is to learn how to read. Kufav resh is dig for water. Cold, refreshing, pleasure, satisfaction. I'm trying to find the truth. Ayin, kaf, bet, yod, sheen, spider. Yod, aleph, resh, gimel, a woven web. Hey, aleph, kaf, lamed, eat, mem, bet, yod, zadi, yod, their eggs. He will die. It's like he's saying, listen, you've been invaded, infiltrated. People have changed the meanings of his words. You don't know Yahweh Zavot, the Elohim of Israel. Look at what he said. He wrote it with his finger. Yeah, but there's no law that says we got to learn how to read Hebrew. I'm telling you, this is where it is. And if you just feed on the English, Greek, Latin, or whatever language, it's spider's webs and viper eggs, and you eat it, you will die. That's what he says. Vav hey, Zion Vav Resh hey, Zion Vav Resh, like Zion Resh, is to turn aside, be a stranger, be disgusting, loathsome, or become squinted at. Like, what's the matter with you? Oh, just allow the Goyim to come in and celebrate Passover, eating whatever. It's like, get them out of here unless they're circumcised, flesh and heart. Tav, Bet, Kuf, Ayin, Valley, ripped apart, break open, undermined, Aleph, Pei, Ayin, Aleph, Pei, Ayin, Hey, viper, groaning, nothingness. It's like that's the state of being about the people that don't know and don't care. Verse 6, Kufav Resh, Kur. Well, there's that word for something being better, placing beams, setting up a roof, covering the deck on of a ship. Kufav Resh Nun, the word for horn, radiant, beaming. Makra Kodesh, to come to Yahweh's appointed times. Everything about this word, Kufav Resh Yod He Mem, Lo Yayo, doesn't exist. Lamed Bet Gimel Dalet, under cloak, concealed treachery, garment, betrayal. Hey, there's that word Bet Gimel Dalet, but what he's saying is, because they don't read, reality doesn't exist. They're deceived. They've got nothing to base it on. Nothing to compare the doctrine to. Velo, and no, Yod Tav Kaf Samik Vav, covered, plated over, hidden, Bet Mem Ayin Shin Yod He Mem. Well, Mem Ayin Shin is what they do, deed or action. Mem Ayin Shin, Bet in the condition of a practical occupation, fact, happening, forced, artificial, manufactured, tale, fable, story. If it's a fake story and it's anodized, it's covered over, it's plated, you don't know what the truth is. And there's no way for you to decipher whether it's the truth. Mem Ayin Shin Yod He Mem, their story. Mem Ayin Shin Yod, again, the same word used 3 times, basically. Practical, Aleph-TAV Nun, deed of trouble. Deed of purchase, trouble, sorrow, fraud, strength, potency. How do you get the practical use of everything he promised us? Learn to read. Yeah, but what if we're lied to about what we're reading? Well, then you're going to gain the deed of purchase of trouble and sorrow, aren't you? That's what he's saying. Vav Pei Ayin Lamed, that's where you get the word Paul. Deed, work, action, reward, wage, influence, effect, Hamas, violence. Bet Kaf Pei Yod He Mem, Ba Kafi, there's that word Kaf again. According to what this is the way it works. I'm forgiven. Okay, you may be forgiven by the blood of Jesus, but here's the way it works. Because of what you do or don't do, because of the words that have been changed in the story that you were told, you're either going to do something and it will, like the coffee, grab, trapped, I gotcha. Now we can beat you up and now you can be ruined for your life. Or you're going to do what he said and he's going to get them and overturn everything. That's that Kaf Peyod, Kafi, Hey Mem. Verse 7. Resh Gimel Lamed, foot, leg, custom, habit, tradition. They run Lara, to do evil. Ve Ratzo, there's that rats like Aleph Resh Zadi and Yod Resh Zadi. They run Vav Yod Mem Hey Resh. Well, Hey Resh is Mem Hey Resh, hasten quickly. The purchase price of a wife. Mem Hey Resh, meditate, reflective, lost in thought. Lamed Shin Pei Kaf, while Shin Pei Tav, Shin Pei Hey, Shin Pei Kaf is your language. But it also means to spill or pour out, succulent, juicy, verbose. A lot of words, quill driver, writing, Dam Noki, blood of the innocent. Because of the tradition, the story. I mean, if you watch a lot of movies, very interesting. This one friend sends me some videos on this thing called Lemon 8 and some TikTok stuff, whatever it is. It's like you look at it and it's people that have taken camera footage of people just beating on each other, domestic violence, neighbors violence. Just somebody gets out of his car and just starts. It's just sickening. Yeah, it's that stuff. People are fed to love, to crave, to have this taste for, an appetite for violently beating on each other. Mouthing off, getting on and on. Mem, chet, shin, bet. Concrete form, make perceptible, illustrate. Mem, chet, shin. They have just paid the price of. You've just bought. Whoa, what did I buy? Hey, you've won. Hey, what's behind the veil? The deed of purchase of shad, that's female breast, but it's also the demon of destruction, violence, havoc, devastation, because you're pondering thinking. The word right before that was mem chet shin bet vav tav aleph vav nun. Because of the way you think, but because of what you attach importance to, because of how you devise and calculate. Did you know you're buying? You have just paid the deed of purchase, like buying a wife. You have bought devastation and trouble, and shavar, broken, crushed hope. But shavar also means inspect, examine, break a code, break dreams. And the last word is bet, mem samek lamed, vav tav mem. That's the suffix there, pluralizing it. But bet mem samek lamed is to weigh, measure, and it has to do with fine flour, distinguished, excellence, the highway, curled, exalted, highly esteemed, weighed, and valued. In other words, you got to stop and think and inspect. It's like, what's happening here? He's giving us the formula. He's given us the reason why the entire society, the culture, the world is what it is right now. Somebody is putting up media which just makes us feed on nothing but the trouble, the distress, the brokenness. But what about Yahweh's words? Oh, you got to take the time to look at his words. And if you take the time to look at his words, that's the fine flour distinguished of excellence, the highway. Verse 8, direct shalom lo yado. They don't know the way of peace. Va'ain mishpat, and there's no mishpat. There's no justice. There's no clear thinking. See, every single time I've seen this word mishpat translated justice or right ruling, and it's like, there's no right ruling. There's no justice. Oh, yeah, the courts are all messed up, or somebody comes out and punches the other guy and there's no justice going. It's like, what is that word? Clear thinking. If you look at mem shin pei tav, tet, full basket. I'm just saying, if you look at the letters and you look at the spelling of words, all of a sudden this stuff becomes clear. Bet mem ayin resh, ayin gimel lamed vav tav mem. Roller, round, circle, trackwise, draw a circle, orbit, an eye socket. There's something round. Nun tav yod bet vav tav yod hey mem. Big long word, but nun tav yod bet is pathway of road, pathways and roads. Ayin kuf shin vav, twisted, crooked. For them, all word with not known. I'm just giving you the English. This lahem kal dabar bet hey ba, what it contains to express lo yada. They don't know shalom. Because the pathways are twisted and crooked for them, because they don't know how to break the code and read the way of peace. Shalom isn't just peace. It's the way everything fits together. It's the way everything works. It's functional. It's proper. You do this, you get blessed. You do that, you get cursed. Look the way it's built. Listen to his voice. You don't listen to his voice, he can't hear your verse. What your prayers heard? It's not a matter of fasting, Isaiah 58. It's a matter of doing justice, helping the poor and innocent and the orphan and the widow. Can you think? Can you hear? Can you see? Now you know the way of peace. Now you yada shalom. Verse 9. Al Khan, surely, truly, verily. Resh het kuf, far distant, dimension, unlikely, improbable, mishpat. Mem nun vav. Well, mem nun, again, those two letters right here, take it to heart, and what comes out of the heart. Count, it's calculated. Velo and no tav, shin yod gimel nun vav. Nun vav can mean hours. Gimel nun is garden, but shin yod gimel, musing or physically gone away. We have no ability to ponder the garden of his things, his words, the way of truth and peace. We have no ability because we don't have this. So the gaining of this is the gaining of the Garden of Eden. Zadikah, victory, deliverance, justice, righteousness. Nun kufav hey, hope. Laor, for light. But behold, he made darkness. La nagao, and contemplation, insight, elucidation, shining. It also means to revise or correct a text. Nagan, compose music, melody. It's like there should be this ability in the language with words, with the way we think, the way we pray, the way we align our heart. But instead, awful, Aleph Pei Lamed, Ba'afalot, plural, awful, obscure, blacked out, gloomy misfortune. Nun He Lamed, Kaf, you have been halakha, walking, led, guide, directed, composed, managed, administered, procedural, banished, removed. See, he's saying, if you don't like the existing circumstances, change them by coming back to this language. It's all written right here. But he's not telling you have to. Verse 10. It's like, I don't know how much time we have, but we're going to run out before I get anywhere near this. But there's a Nam Yahuah here coming up in verse 20. At least we'll get to that. Hopefully, just Nun Gimel Shin Shin, draw near, approach, dedicated, collided, conflicted, driven, oppressed, pressed, feel, touch, grope. It's like there's something about engage, like Ayin Vav Resh, Yod Mem, Kaf, Ayin Vav Resh, Ayin Vav, Kaf, Ayin Vav Resh, ugly, unseemly, incite, awakening, instigate, arousal. Gimel Shin Shin can mean feel, touch, grope, touch the bottom of the sea. It's like, where do you find your bearing of reality? See, if depending on the way you read each one of these words, Kuf Yod Resh, wall, beam, rim, border, cold, pleasant, investigate, examine, visit, Bet Kuf Vav Resh. But Vav Kaf Ayin or Aleph Yod Nun, like without Ayanim, without Ives. Nun Gimel Shin Shin Hey. It's like draw near, approach, dedicated, collided, conflicted, like they're wrestling without eyes. Kaf, Shin Lamed, Nun Vav, that which belongs to the touching the bottom of the sea, but Kaf, Shin Lamed means misled, failure, stumbling, overthrown. We've been, Nun Vav suffix, we're overthrown with these wrestlings because we don't even know what we're fighting about. Got to go back to the language. Bet, Zadi Hey Resh Yod Mem, window, bright, clear, zenith of noon, declare, proclaim. Kaf Nun Shin Pei, evening breeze, panting, fierce blowing, morning twilight. Bare steep, well, that's a synonym with Shin Pei Hey, swept bare, clear like the mountaintop, bald head, where it's like, I can see. There's other places where that word is used, which is why I'm highlighting it for the moment. Bet Aleph Shin Mem Nun. There's that Mem Nun. Shin Mem Nun is the word for oil. Remember the 5 bridesmaids that had oil and 5 didn't? Is this the oil that they had? Bet Aleph, arrive, enter. But Bet Aleph Shin is a stench. Ba'ashamat, something around here stinks. Your name is dead. Throw it in the fire. That's to be excommunicated. Just similar word to what's here. Mem Nun Yod, count. Kaf Mem Tav Yod Mem, like corpses. Well, maybe it really is a stench throwing somebody's name into the fire. What I'm saying is this, all these verses are showing behind the scenes, because we didn't read this last week like this. And then here's this word for growling bears, all of us, directly, exactly, navigating, moan, lament, habit to be led away, try, tradition, hope, and justice. There's no salvation, kept away, aloof, distance, dimension, far, unlikely, away from us. He's telling us, if you guys keep doing what you're doing, you're never going to recover. What's the solution? Come back to what Yahweh's words are. Verse 12. Ki ravo. There's that Peru ravu. This is ki ravu. But thus yet they increase. Peishinayan, Yod Nun Vav, our rebellion, transgression, guilt, offense, criminal acts. We just keep doing the same thing. Nun Gimel Dalet Kaf, opposite, contrary. But he also, that means to make conspicuous, make noon. It's where you get the word nagged, or like the wife, this the nagging the husband. Hey, will you do this? Will you take care of this? It's to make something obvious and put it in their face. It's a word for a contractor. The guy on the other side of the table, beat, strike, hammered. And our sins, het tet aleph there, ayin nun tav hey, where that sing, respond, afflicted, humbled, oppressed. Beno, his son, or they build. So our crimes with us, our iniquity. There's peshin ayin and ayin vav nun. And then the last word here is yod dalet ayin nun vav mem. Well, nun vav mem is to slumber, to be asleep, like in a coma, like Sleeping Beauty or Snow White. Yada, to know. Dalet Ayin Nun, a scientist or an erudite scholar. It's like because of our iniquity of not regarding what he said, we're in a coma. And again, like the Sleeping Beauty, the Snow White story, the kiss of the prince, and they wake up. That's being the word to give to drink, shin kuf. To have the lively desire is the same word to give the drink, is the same word for the go to the market, shuk, and it's also the word for to kiss. And so when Jacob got kissed on his neck by Esau and has dots above that word with the shin kuf, and I've heard it said that the rabbis say, well, they don't know why those dots are there, but Jacob or Esau really wanted to bite him, but instead he kissed him, and it's like why are those dots nikud there? Deuteronomy 28, verse 29 also has dots, and the word Nicodemus. The word nicked is dots. Why are those dots there? What will heal the relationship between the brothers, between a kiss and being bitten on the neck? Why is there those dots above that word? Why are we banished? Deuteronomy 29, 28 is that we turned away from Yahweh's Torah. That's what that's just talking about. You go back, and that's another subject. Verse 13, criminal revolt, Peshinayan, Vav, Kaf, Het, Shin, deceived, denying, disappointing, feigned obedience, contradicting with lies. He has strained himself away from Yahuah. The first three words of verse 13, criminal revolt, deception, feigned obedience, again, well, that's bet Yahweh, with Yahweh, against Yahweh. See, compared to Yahweh, the bet prefix, what does that mean in the condition of Yahuah? That means that whatever Yahuah Zavot, the Elohim of Israel, really is, in relationship to that concept, you are either with or against. Peshinayan, Kaf Het Shin, you've been deceived what it means to be with him. Nun Samek, hey, there's those two words, Vav Gimel. Samek Vav Gimel has to do with a subject for study. Fenced, enclosed, backslide, classified, type, category, genre, large basket, very similar to Pei Nun. Mem Achar, future, strange, alien, other. El Henu, Debar Ashak, contend, quarrel, cling to striving, extortion, robbed, exploit. It's like we've been given a fake God. That's what it's saying. Machar Elhenu. Our Elohim is so foreign, we don't even know him. He always says that of his people. They think I'm somebody strange. They don't even know me. Oh, but we love him and pray to him and sing to him. But you don't even know him because you're doing everything he said not to do. And he said he didn't want your songs and your fasting and your worship songs. He wants you to listen to his voice. That's what he said. Well, Jesus changed it. Oh, okay, then you worship Jesus. Okay, thank you. Contending and quarrel, ayin shin kuf, and samek resh hey, revolt and rebellion, hey resh vav, drink to the full, but it also is pregnant, think, meditate, reflect, saturated, hey resh vav yod hey, very similar to that word shuk, which is to give to drink, very similar to shin tav, which is to get drunk and intoxicated and plastered. It's like, what are you drinking? Yeshua said, the goblet, like Yosef, the goblet, the new covenant in my blood. The word blood is similarity. We've got an intoxicating drink of, don't do anything, he said, because he did it for us. You got to worship him and honor him and glorify him by not regarding the law. If you regard the law, you're profaning and saying his blood was worthless. That's what they say. I've heard it many times. That's what they say. Vav He Gimel Vav, thinking, meditate, steering, pronunciation from the heart, Mem Lamed Bet. My word, Dabari Shin Kuf Resh, lies, false. He's telling us, you're being lied to. You're being deceived, led astray. Hello. Hey, it's like the voice of the serpent in the garden. Verse 14, the removal, He Samek Gimel, Achor, future, later, delayed, retrospective, Mishpat Vezadika, justice and righteousness, or clear thinking and victory, Mem Reshket Vav Kuf, removed, expelled, highly unlikely, Tav Ayin Mem Dalit, stand, placed, appointed, established, position, to be in the position of with me, He Kashala, so thus, therefore, Kaf, Shin Lamed Hey, feeble, feeble, stumble, stagger, totter, fail, misled, overthrown, downfall, weakness. Kaf, like, Shin Lamed belongs to, Hey express. It's like, if you're being misled with distortions, you're going to fall. That's what he said. If you're with me, as it's standed and placed and appointed, Kuf Mem, you can stand even in the face of your adversary. That's what he said. That's the benefit of the Torah. That's the benefit of this language, of going back and learning how to read. Emet, truth. It goes on to say, Bet, Resh, Het, Vav, Kuf, wide, broad, spacious, roomy expanse. Emet, truth. Vav, Nun, Kaf, Het, Hey, present right in front of Lo, no, Tav, Vav, Kaf, Lamed, internal, or capacity to contain or hold, because Yod, Kaf, Lamed means you have the power and capacity to prevail and contain it all. Lamed, Bet, Vav, Aleph, from arriving. So he's saying, yeah, I could put truth right in front of you. You can't contain it because you've been lied to and you just won't hear. You won't see because you want to hold on to what they told you, thinking you're doing him honor. And it's contrary to Yahweh's Avot, the Elohim of Israel. It's contrary to the Torah. Verse 15, Vav Tav He Yod, here is Ha Emet, the truth. Nun Ayin Dalet Resh Tav. The word nun, the letter nun, is the suffix to engage in the action of ayin dalet resh, arrange, set in order. That's like the word eriktology. That's like this chart. It also means remove, denied, missing in action, fail, to be lacking. It's a hode line, like kaf is lines of hode, lamed shaped like a hode, to hoe lines in a field so where you can plant the seed being his word. So he's saying, prepare, arrange, set things in order so that the seed planted can grow and flourish and make sense. See, it goes back to this agricultural paradigm. Vav Samik Resh, turn, refuse, rebel, revolt is Samik Resh. Hey, Mem Resh Aleph, away from evil. He's saying turn away from evil. How do you know what evil is? If you don't learn how to read, there's no faithfulness and there's no righteousness because you don't know good from evil. Kadosh from halal. If you don't know what Yahweh said, you don't know what it is. You got to learn to read. And the fear of Yahweh is evil in the eyes, because without justice, there's that word, there's the I wrote it, because there's no justice, whatever Yahweh said is evil or good, or what it means to be a friend and companion or contrary, nobody knows. That word justice, okay, Shin Vav Pei means polished, smooth, referee, and also fool or idiot. The reason why referees wear black and white striped shirts is because back in the olden days, in the days of the Renaissance anyway, that was what the fool wore, the black and white stripes. That's what the referee, he's not a player, he's the referee, he's the judge, black and white striped shirt. Anyway, the word Shin Pei Yod Vav Nun means quiet, calm, clear thinking. Shin Pei He, peace, clarity, bare hill, alone. That's like the top of the hip bone. It's just smooth and clear. And then the word Shin Pei Yod Vav Tav, to ordain or place over the fire. Labial. It's like that, words which are in your mouth. You see, remember he said he wouldn't take them out of our mouth? To have clear thinking and sanity about the words that he placed in your mouth. And then there's this phrase, dual fireplace, like dual sheepfolds. Who has two fireplaces? You might have one that opens to the side, that side. Some places have two fireplaces. You don't normally see two fireplaces hooked together. That's actually illegal to join the stacks. But the point is, there's something about a picture of two fireplaces kind of hooked together here, or two sheepfolds. Well, that's a picture of the letter Het, especially drawn like this. As I said, if you have the Big Dipper, and then you've got the Little Dipper, and you hold the two together, it looks like the letter Het with one pin holding them together. Hey, that's Yeshua, the Good Shepherd, holding together the two houses of Israel, as it were, or a picture of the two fireplaces. That's that word. I can see that word in those pictures because their key ein is not, and then you got the mem, pei gimel yod ayin. Well, that means vulnerable, to harm, damage. It also means meeting, encounter, to pray for. And it says there's nobody that prays. But the other, it's like, wait a minute. Let me back up. It says without, I went on to the next verse. Sorry. There's no justice. There's no way to tell what's in or out, what's fair, what's foul, what's kadosh, what's halal. The verse 16 is Yirah ki ein ish. He saw that there was no man who would yod. This is an interesting word. Vav yod shin tav vav mem mem plural. Shin tav. Well, that's the word foundation or basis, or to be able to be drunk or intoxicated. Yod shin is reality, but Tav Vav Mem Kaf, this is a Tav Vav Mem, is a supporting post. Shin Tav Vav Mem is open to see. It's like, is there any man that can see the supporting basis of what holds everything up? The Amad Besodi of Jeremiah 23. And because there's not, they're vulnerable to damage. So he delighted to sow the seed Zion Resh Ayin, inseminate and righteously, Zadi Dalit Kuf Tav Vav, Hey Yod Aleph. Well, Hey Vav Aleph, Hey Yod Aleph, this is the word she. She was righteously inseminated. He delighted to? Well, that's a picture of the virgin birth now, isn't it? And the last word, Samik Mem Kaf Tav Hey Vav. Well, Samik Mem Kaf is literally pronounced Samik, which is the spelling of the word Samik. The engineered structure. It means support, sustain, uphold, ordain, authorize, put into the construct state, made thick, authority, right, brought near. Well, that's bet and that's gimel. To put into the construct state, that's bet. So the samik of putting into this state is bet, and gimel is that drawing near the attachment between the aleph and the bet. So he said, because nobody understands this, it delights him to somehow impregnate her, Zion Resh Ayin, with righteousness. Her who? Is that the Virgin Mary, or is that Israel? Is that his people? From within. Verse 17. Vav Yod Lamed Bet Shin. See, there's 3 or 4 words that mean to have clothing. One is Bet Gimel Lamed. This is another one. Lamed Bet Shin. Labash is another one. Samik Mem Lamed. Simula, which is like a tight-fitting garment, so you know exactly what the thing is, like wearing spandex or something. But here this is clothed. Labash. Zadika. Clothed with righteousness. What's righteousness? Righteousness, by definition, is doing what Yahuah said in his Torah. So he clothed himself. Who's he? The one who is going to be the seed of this woman? Now, the interesting thing, just another little, you got planets lined up. You got Betula, the constellation of the Virgin, and you've got 3i Atlas out there, right in this line, lining up these planets, bringing to attention. It's like, what's going on with that? Why Betula? What virgin? Is that the Virgin Mary? Is that Israel? Is that some concept, a virginal concept of one who's been untainted or unaffixed to locked in with some other guy, and now she's gaining this seed of righteousness? They're just lining up with today's cosmic events. Verse 17, clothed with righteousness like armor. Kaf, Shin Resh Yod Nun. Sharin is a lead singer, a coat of mail, or absolutely secure protection. Picture a knight wearing plate armor. Vav Kaf, Vav Bet Ayin. Well, Bet Ayin is a bubble to quest and seek, but Kaf Vav Bet is like a bubble. Well, that's a helmet. It's the word translated helmet. Yeah, but why Bet Ayin? Well, it's a bubble shape, and it's like, wait a minute, there's something about seeking and questing what is acceptable, what is not, what is Kadesh, what is Halal, seeking what is Ayin Vav Nun, what is it that is causing us to fail, and what is it that will cause us to prevail. Learn the language. I say, sorry, I don't mean to yell, but I'm saying I've been I've heard from so many people's mouth. He didn't command us to learn the language. If this chapter is about learning the language, if Daniel 12 is about the language and is about numerous other places about learning the language, it will recover Israel. Israel, Ezekiel 30, chapter 36, verse 23, has to turn around and somehow proclaim the Shem HaGadol of Yahuah's avot. And that's in the language. Everything else is a pollution of distortion. It's only in the language. And if he says, here is the secret key, learn my words and do what it says, every other alternative is a fail. This is the one secret key that he provided his people to turn everything around. Listen to his words and do what he said. In spite of the doctrine, in spite of the tradition, in spite of the fact that December 25th is on its way. A helmet of salvation. But see, that's not the word salvation. It's Yod, Shin, Vav, Ayin, Hey. Shin, Vav, Ayin, according to the dictionary, is a cry for help. It's not the word Yeshua. Carly, your hand's up. I see we're near the end here. Just I'm going to try to get to the end of this section. Is the helmet that the fact you can cry for help? Barasho on his head? Velabash, clothed. Begad, there's that word clothed and cloaked in disguise. Nun kuf mem, to take vengeance, to suffer vengeance. He nun kuf mem, he suffered vengeance. Velabash, there's that other word again, and clothed. Yod ayin tet, means to cover or wrapped up and enveloped. KAF, like mem ayin yod lamed, upper garment, overcoat, trench coat, treacherous dealing, embezzlement. Kuf nun aleph hey, fanatical, jealous, zealous. That's that word kona. And it's like, wait a minute, what? He somehow came in disguise. He came not in his power. He came to suffer vengeance in disguise. He came weakened, dalet lamed, so that he would be put to the weapon and blow out the other side in majesty. The Jews won't tell you that because that's about Yahusha. They don't want to see him. They're told and led astray by their leaders, their teachers, their rabbis. They're saying the words that he's a well, what they say is that man right now is in hell, boiling in feces of excrement. What? Gosh. They are lying, stealing, and killing their own people from hearing the truth of the beautiful light of an elucidation and the zenith of clarity of mind. And if this is what Ephraim brings to the table to make the Jews jealous, then even so, amen, Yahuah, cause it to be. Verse 18, Kaf ayin lamed, Gimel mem lamed. Hey, that's the word Gimel, camel. It also means recompense and reward. Kaf ayin lamed. Well, that's what's, remember, Kaf means like, ayin lamed means together. Mem ayin lamed is to act unfaithfully or treacherous behavior. So you're going to get the reward of acting unfaithfully, regardless of whether Yahushua died on the cross. If you don't behave yourself, man's ways returned on his own head. That's the mishpat. You're going to get what's coming. Yod Shin Lamed Mem. Well, Shin Lamed Mem, like shalom with the vav, means ended, finished, complete, whole, restored, make compensation, accomplished. He submitted himself or made profitable. For Yahushua to come down here, submit himself to this death, so that 3 days and 3 nights later he could rise and make profitable Yod Kaf Lamed, he will have the power capacity to prevail and contain it all. Yod Kaf Lamed, prevail and contain it all. He came to lock this in and to make it functional. Shalom, Shin Lamed Mem. Chet Mem Hey, warmth, to see, to protect, poison, wrath, fury. Lamed Zadi Resh Yod Vav, unto his adversaries. Gimel Mem Vav Lamed, which is ripeness, maturity, the right to receive a pension, the recompense, the reward. See, this is to bringing about all the things that Yahweh said. Unto his enemies and unto the lost, the islands of lost, where the people don't know, the action, the recompense, is that word gemol again, made compensation. In other words, he's going to come, and the fury, the het mem hey, the warmth, also means to see and protect. So on the one hand, by him doing this, by him having this be this whole thing, when he set up the universe, and he said somehow, let's say those of his people that go along with his whole ALEF-TAV agenda will be protected, and those who scorn, reject, scoff, and have a casual disregard will feel the weight of the fury of it. This is the reality of the way this place is built. Verse 19, Vav Yod Yod Resh Aleph Vav. Well, Resh Aleph Hey means to seer, but Yod, see, on exhibition, Yod Resh Aleph, fear, revered, awe-inspiring, dreadful. It's like to suddenly see the reality of this, and it's like, wait a minute, is this what's really going on? To get a glimpse of the reality, this is Yahweh Zavot, the one who, the Zadi Bet Yod is to be beautiful, it's the gazelle. The gazelle, picture the gazelle running through these letters. Picture Yahusha running through these letters. This beautiful dance. All for the sake of his people. To be made in a conforming image to himself. Same heart, same mind, same valor. Take up your cross. Take up your Tav, take up your Zion, take up the whole thing. Can you get a glimpse of that with awe? From the West. Mem, ayin resh bet. Hey, that's from America. Yeah, but see, the word ayin resh bet is not just West. It means mix, mingle, an article of exchange, and confused. Very similar to the word Babel. So the mem prefix means away from Babel. In other words, for those in the position of having learned the tradition, the religion, the culture of all this confusion of lies and distortion and everything mixed up, and to come away from that to ALEF-TAV Shem Yahuah. It's this. Vav mem Zion resh chet, and from, now it can mean away from, but it can also mean to the place of shining, break forth like the sun, ALEF-TAV his kavod, and arrive KAF nun hey resh, like a river, shining, streaming, beaming, daylight. Zar Ruach Yahweh, oh, that's the rock. That's an enemy. But I was talking about this last week, where the same word that means enemy, foe, distress, if you look at the spelling of the words, Yod Zadi Resh means inclination, purpose, form, framing, imagination, to provide, establish, founded, to compose a work. To compose a work, that's what this is. He composed this, but hey Zadi Resh, hey means narrow constriction, or the narrow gate. So the narrow gate of the composed work of the Ruach of Yahuah is to understand this alphabetic sequence, to understand the function of these Moedim is to hold it in place. Proven, authenticated by Yeshua going to the grave. And then the words nun, samek, hey, and then bet vav. Nun samek, to perform miracles, to move to and fro, to wave a flag. With it, bet vav. Yeah, but with what? With the Ruach of Shem Yahuah. The idea that this is Yahweh's Zavot. This is what he wants us to know of him. This is his Torah, this is his kavod, his glory, this is his pei aleph resh, his adorning headdress is his people like himself, like Yahusha, like himself, achad with his father. Last verse 20, Vav bet ayin, then will arise, Latzion, unto Zion, or in the condition of the blossoming of the one who's obeying and behaving and flourishing in his commands. Gimel Vav Aleph Lamed. Well, Gimel Aleph Lamed, that means pollute, to defile, but it also is redeemer, deliverer, and kinsman. Unto the dweller or the repentant who returns, Lamed Shin Bet Yod. Peshin Ayin, criminal trespass, guilt. That's that. The one who turns away from doing that wickedness. It's like, I thought it was okay. We were told it was okay. We were told we didn't have to. Bet, Yod Ayin Kuf Bet. Bet is prefixing the condition of he will, well, that's the word Jacob. Hinder, prevent, circumvent, overreach, superseded, consequence, reward, because of that which follows at the heel of turning away from evil, unto Zion, unto Yahweh's command. Well, there's the formula of success right there. And then he stamps it, Nam Yahuah. The imperial signet, you might say. Now, I'm not going to go through the other verses, but let me just say this. That's right near the end. I'll say, let me go on a little bit. Verse 21, this is Isaiah 59. I am this, Ani Zat, Briti, my covenant, ALEF-TAV Mem, with them declares Yahweh. My Ruach that I put in my word that I placed in your mouth will not be removed away from you and from the mouth of your offspring and from the seed of your seed, declares Yahweh, Me'ata ve'ed olam, now or forever. So to look at that, verse 21 of the last verse of chapter Isaiah 59, and he says, I'm never going to take these words out of your mouth. That means I can look at these words and have the absolute confidence that the day he spoke Yehior, Genesis 1, and the day he said these words to Isaiah, it's just as valid now. There's something about these words. And then to drop into Isaiah 60, Kumi ori kiva arech vekavod Yahuah Eleheka zarach. Arise, my light, because it has arrived, your light, the glory of Yahweh risen. He puts within you and it brings you up, risen to a greater potential, a higher dignity. Breaking forth as a rock is a zenith. It's this understanding. Not leaving Yahusha out, he's at the heart of locking in the whole thing. Because behold, darkness covered the earth, verse 2 of Isaiah 60, and a vague cloud, ayin resh pei lamed, unclear, foggy, indistinct. Lamed ayin mem yod mem, as the mother of nations, as the way to say, if what, we don't know, we're so blind. It was he inserted into you Vezerach Yahweh Kavodo, his glory, Aleka Yirah. He has made his glory evident, on exhibition, to be seen. And verse 3, Vehalakha Goyim Laor, the Gentiles can now walk by your light. You who? Israel, having Yahweh's word, seeing this and living accordingly. Ve'melakim la naga zarak, and kings, no, well, melech is kings, but it also those who goes directed unto, see that word nun gimel hey is to revise or correct, to shine brightness. Revise and correct is to give these letters the value that they really are. That's this thing, that's this study. Verse 4, Shin Aleph Yod, wonder, be astonished, amazed, stand empty of thoughts, like, wow. Crash into ruins. Samik Bet Yod Bet, go around surrounding your eyes. Verai, Resh Aleph Yod, mirror, sight, appearance, aspect. Kalam, shame, reproach, disdain, or humiliation. Nun Kuf Bet Zadi, assemble, collect, meet in the same orbit. Compilation. Come to you, your sons from afar, they arrive, your daughters within agreement. Those who come from afar, those who were totally opposed and didn't want anything to do with this because it was a bunch of nonsense, will suddenly see, and they will come and meet you in the same orbit and say, all right, this is the truth. You're right. I get it. All right. That was verse 4. And then the last word of verse 4, Tav, Aleph, Mem, Nun, Hey, trustworthy, educated, trained, faithful, conformed, adapted, in harmony, coupled, made to suit, symmetry. Why? Because somehow they can see these words. Then at that time, verse 5, see on exhibition, Nahar, river, flow, stream, shine, Vav, Pei, Het, Dalet, dread, fear, be in awe, frightened, made timid. Rachav, generosity, expanse, extent, wide, broad, roomy, your heart, Lavavaka, because Yod, Hey, Pei, Kaf, reverse, overthrow, opposite, contradict, overturn, Aleka, empowerment, raising up, promotion, Hamon, Hey, Mem, Vav, Nun, similar to what's going on here, which is to say, abundance, confusion, crowd, a sea of military goyim nations coming to you. That word military, move in a circle, strength, power, wealth, it's chayil, inducing birth or labor pains. What he's saying is somehow when the Gentile nations see this, when nations from all over the planet, which are not you, they will come to you saying, we got it. Teach us of his ways. How are they going to do that? They need to have it given to them. Verse 6, Shin Pei Ayin Tav, influence, flow abundantly, cause discharge, multitude, drop an incline so it floods down rushing. Gimolot, camels, yeah, but ripened, weaned, recompense, repay, the right to receive a pension, brought to the term of wholeness. That which was hidden, Tav Kaf, Somek Kaf, Bet Kaf Reshod, royal bodyguard, or great feast prepared, a banquet, Medin, judgment or character or nature, Mem, Ifa, weary, tired, faint, dark, gloom, flight, Kalam, put to shame, Ma, Shavab, repent, turn, import, the gold, the frankincense, but the word for frankincense is ancient Hebrew script, whitening, clarification, elucidation, understanding of the heart, like, which is this golden Zion, hey, Bet, give this. He will lift up and carry the praise, glory, and renown. Ve'i Basaru. Okay, I'm gonna quit here. But what I'm saying is, it goes on to say, who are these that? One more verse. Then it goes, who are these that fly like a cloud, like doves through the coat windows? Verse 7. Give me the last verse. Every small sheep, those going out, dark, gloomy, obscure, gather, collect, as you, Aili, my strong one, my hero, my champion. Beyot, make tame, domestic of the house, the straight right, with efficiency, effectiveness, make use of, benefit, profit, and voluntarily desire, wish that which flows from my offer, my altar, and the house I have adorned, my house of teaching, and it is adorned. The providing of these words, of this Torah, in these letters, as a gift to humanity, is what Nicholas has been working on. Thank you. Bringing this prophecy to reality. We should stop here. We're well past the time. So thank you, Yahuah, for your words.